And George's question is, would it ever be considered to recook the liner to fix a lift or fin?
Yes, the answer is yes. If you have a lift, for instance, and Ed talked about that briefly, if you have a lift and it has not yet been cured, if the if the contractor has the ability at that point to repressurize the liner, in other words, put a plug in each end, repressurize the liner, lay the liner down, put additional heat into the liner to cure the system, yes. If the liner has totally cured and it's hard and it has lifted, since it is a cured-in-place system, cured-in-place or say a thermoset product, I should say, as opposed to a thermoplastic product, once the product has been set, it's basically you can only mechanically change the shape, and I'm not sure that the shape will or the lift will not come back over time. There's just no way to heat cure something that's already been cured into a round configuration.
Did that answer his question, or would he like a further expansion on that?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ed.
Well, maybe he's typing in. I would just add to Jerry's comments that when it comes to thermoset resins, as he said, until they're cured, they are able to be, cured. And so if it's for some reason had something acting on the outside that didn't allow it to assume its position properly, and once that becomes known to the contractor, he has the opportunity to add the additional pressure in that localized area and then reheat that localized area. If the resin is there and the catalysts are still present, which they typically are, then reheating will produce a very viable and very satisfactory line. There has even been some instances where the cure was only partial, and so the liner was kind of in a gray area between hard and soft. And still, at that point, it was possible with pressurization and curing, proper curing, to get a good quality cure on the liner.
Okay, we got a thank you note from George, so I think his question has been satisfied. We do have a follow-up, however, from Sam.
Okay.
Is the design and setup of bypass pumping systems covered within the course?
The discussion on bypass, the specifics of the design is not. The inspectors are essentially instructed or trained to look at the specifications, what's required. If there's anything specific required, then the inspector's job is to note that the bypass pumping has in fact been set up, that it's been set up properly if specified. If not, it's essentially a means and methods left to the contractor to set up his bypass pumping to accommodate the installation process.
And if I could add what Jerry just said for Sam, with respect to the performance specifications that we do introduce to the students, within the body of that work, we talk about what's called a performance work statement, which is what the contractor produces, which talks about the details of the work to be accomplished and how he expects to go about doing that, the construction sequence, the schedule of the installation. Certainly within that performance work statement would be the bypass pumping plan, the specifics thereof. And so that's an excellent opportunity upon the submission of that performance work statement to be able to review the bypass pumping plan so that you know you have an adequate plan in place once you go to construction.
Okay, and we have one more, actually we have a follow-up to Deirdre regarding the train-the-trainer question.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, actually, you know what, we'll have to get back to that. I think we do have a question from Sam again. Is the CIPP inspector deemed a competent person, quote unquote, per OSHA? Does the inspector have the authority to issue a, quote, stop work order to the contractor if contract criteria is not met?
The course does not get into the details of OSHA requirements. The inspector, the course is geared to training the inspector in the CIPP technology, what it does, how it functions, what items in the specifications need to be documented, the focus for the inspection assurance or the quality assurance that the inspector needs to provide out in the field. A competent person, that's a different training program. As far as the inspector being able to give direction to the contractor, the inspector typically, as far as we go with it, the inspector records, the inspector takes down information, may point out some areas which may cause a problem, but does not direct the contractor on how to install the product.
Okay, we have two more quick questions here. One is from Rich, and the question is, it is often good practice to have the installer who performs the cutting be certified. Sounds like a comment.
Okay.
I can respond to that. I think that's a good thing. I think whoever does the cutting of, I assume, the service connections should be qualified, should have some background. I don't know if there's a certification program for that at present. Probably would be a good idea to be certified if you're actually performing work on the project site in a specialty mode.
His other comment is, in some instances, infiltration will prevent the liner from a successful installation and curing.
And I agree with that, and that's why we've kind of discussed the different forms of infiltrations, such as the dripper and the weeper, and we go into much more detail in the program, talking about where you have excessive flow, the types of methods necessary to stop the flow, including grouting and pre-liner programs. That is covered in much more detail that obviously we couldn't get into in this particular webinar.
Then we have another comment from George once again. Once the liner is cut at both ends, does it need to be brushed smooth with the manhole wall?
Typically, most installers will leave an inch or so inside the manhole. Typically, this is to kind of lock the liner in, to give it a little bit of a flare at the end. That varies from project to project. I've seen it brushed smooth. I'm not sure there's a specific criteria on that unless it's specific to a contract document.
Okay, and we have a new question from Hat Whitmer. And Hat would like to know, does the course cover other technologies such as UV cured? I am not on the mic. Please read my question.
Yeah, Hap, we touch on UV technologies. We essentially talk about water, heat-cured water and steam-cured technologies, and we talk about UV technologies, essentially bring the inspector up to speed, what's out there, what's being installed, general idea of how the particular technology works. The course, again, keep in mind that the course is geared not so much as the means and methods. The course is geared on a performance-based type of approach, which is the end result. What is the deliverable? What the inspector needs to look for in terms of defects, what the structural characteristics of the end product is, and is it meeting the contract specifications and the owner's expectations.
Okay, it appears that concludes our questions. We don't have any others listed here, so.
Okay, thank you all for attending.
And if you have any questions or would like additional information, you can go online to the NASSCO website, and you will also all be receiving a follow-up email tomorrow with registration information. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.